This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblue, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on sportstalksc.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sports Talk here on Sports Talk Media Network, a very special Thursday edition of Sports Talk. We come to you from the Players Club in downtown Columbia. I figured if I could not be at the Ocean Course at Kiowa in person watching the PGA Championship, what other place to be but the Players Club here in downtown Columbia, where everywhere I look, I've got big screens with the PGA Championship on. I've got simulated golf areas where I can go hit my 5-iron if I want to. I can go pull out my 56-degree wedge and hit it 200 yards.
Is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so first round out, it's really nice to see the leader playing out of the afternoon group. A lot of times in the afternoon on a links course, it gets more difficult with the wind. Apparently, based on that and the other scores, it seemed to be pretty even. So first impressions, I did see a little bit midday to watch at the end of the day. First impressions, the overall field, pretty equitable as far as the weather, which around ocean course golf, that's unusual.
Yeah. Well, they're saying the weather tomorrow, the wind tomorrow is supposed to be the stiffest of the 4 days.
But when does it start? When does it? And that's hard to say out there. And the weather they get all the way at the end of the island there is definitely different than what you'd see in Charleston.
Sure.
Or on the I guess it would be the southern or the southwestern tip of that island.
Let's give you the rundown on the leaderboard. Our coverage here brought to you by the Players Club in downtown Columbia. George will talk about this wonderful place we call the Players Club, and they call it the Players Club as well, by God.
Yeah,
they took our idea. So Corey Connors is 5 under. He is leading as he plays the 18th, coming down the 18th, and that would be a heck of a score. Keegan Brown, Victor Hovland, Brooks Kemp, Aaron Wise, they 69, and Sam Horsfield. What did he just do? Did he just do something?
I'm pointing at Phil Mickelson.
Oh, what did he just do?
He finished at 2 under.
Oh, Sam Horsfield. I love that name. Englishman, Sam Horsfield. He is playing his last. He might be already in 3 under at this point. And then you've got Cameron Tringali at 70. That's 2 under par. Martin Laird, 2 under par 70. Defending champion Colin Morikawa in at 2 under par 70. You got to like if you are even par or under today, I think you got to feel pretty good about your position. But Greg Harrington is 2 under as he plays 16. Gary Woodland is 2 under on the course. We also have Cameron Smith. Will Zalatoris making the name for himself once again, the Wake Forest product. He's at 2 under on the course. Kevin Strillman's at 2 under. Cam Davis is at 2 under. So you've got 15 golfers 2 under or better at this point. Very tight leaderboard. As we check some of the others that we follow on a regular basis, Ricky Fowler off early today. He kind of set an early pace. He finished at 1 under 71. You just mentioned Mickelson is now in. Did you say?
No, he's not. I whiffed on that. He's still on the course at
but he's
200.
2. He is -2, playing well. Bubba Watson, even par 72. We mentioned DeChambeau in 200-yard wedge shot. He finishes at even par 72. John Rahm is even on the course late. Sergio Garcia had a couple of back-to-back birdies, a few holes to go to get to even par through 12. Lee Westwood is plus 173. Patrick Reed is plus 1. Jason Day plus 2. These folks are on the course. Dustin Johnson's plus 2 through 12. Martin Keimer is in at plus 375. Rory McIlroy, 75 for him. Last time he played this course in competition, it was a 66 as he won by 8 in 2012. 75 for him. 3 over par. Justin Thomas plus 3. Tommy Fleetwood plus 3. Matt Kuchar on the course at plus 4. Kevin Kisner at plus 5, a 77 for him. Russell Henley's plus 5 on the course, and Adam Scott is in at plus 6, 78. And at the bottom of the ledger, you look at some of the high scores, and some of these are obviously PGA professional local pros and things like that who earned their way in, like Frank Bensel Jr. He shot an 86. Sonny Skinner, he shot an 85. John Daly, who you know who he is, he shot an 85. Stuart Smith an 82. Cameron Champ an 82. So
Phil, you're just not going to take any prisoners. Usually, I like it best when we just leave that out of the broadcast. I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, listen, I cover everything. And Sam Burns had to withdraw. He apparently withdrew at the turn with an injury. He had recorded a 41 when he withdrew. Sam Burns came in as one of the hot golfers on tour, right? He had won a couple of weeks ago and finished close last time out, and but he's out. He withdrew today because of an injury. So that's what it looks like at this point. We'll keep you up to date on things here as the rest of the golfers make their way into the clubhouse here over the next hour and a half or so. So, George, what'd you think of the overall play? I mean, who's winning today, the course or the field?
Oh, definitely. It's the course is winning, and what I'm looking at is to see how many of the great players are eliminated. Most of the folks don't look at the majors. They look at all the players look at majors differently, and the facts are about a major championship. You will never win it on the first round. And these guys, the really the great players, are more concerned about first round because you can lose it in the first two rounds. You can't win it there. So I'm looking at the Mickelson, the Kepkas, the other, even Garcia, Dustin Johnson. Dustin Johnson's out there fighting to keep from losing it in the first round. You shoot 78, you're done,
Mm-hmm.
usually in a major. And
Mm-hmm.
so Dustin's still right. To me, I think he's still in the middle of it.
One thing I heard interesting, and this is, of course, way out of my league when it comes to golf, whenever I have to like evaluate a shot or an approach or anything, but listening to PGA Tour radio, which I love to listen to during the majors because these guys they live with the game every day, and they travel with these guys everywhere. But they were talking about the pin placements. As we can see right there on that hole, just watching the ESPN coverage, the pin placements on a lot of holes were toward the front, in holes where you had a wind behind you, which made it even more difficult to hit your approach because you had to deal with the wind at your back and the hole cut to the front. Would
Right.
you assess that correctly?
Yeah, and I have to say that the anytime the flag's up front, uh, the grain in the fringe of the face of the green matters a lot. And as I'm looking at, I haven't seen the golf course, but um, anytime the flags are up front, it's very difficult. When behind you, when in your face, it doesn't matter. If it's in your face, now you're dealing with the ball coming off the green, long distances of, in some cases, spin back. So I'll be intrigued to see just how they have the grasses cut around the greens,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're not even talking about the grain on the green itself. So the firmness of the green at this point, what I've seen, they seem moderately firm, which is not a good sign based on the forecast. It sounds like it looks to me like it's going to get more firm. And my guess is tomorrow they will not water tonight based on what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And the tournament officials love to have control of the conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing in the 2020 modern day era is they like it tough, hard, fast. PGA is pretty lenient though. I mean, they're pretty fair about it. I'll be curious. Kerry Haig is one of the best at setting up a golf course in all the majors. He's one guy that's done it a lot. So I know I'm kind of talking about stuff that maybe not be brought up, but he's great at setting up a golf course. He really is.
All right, we've got other things going on, Chris, including baseball. Clemson and Duke are underway at Doug Kingsmore, and Duke has taken a quick 1-0 lead on the Tigers as they play in the bottom of the first. It's, of course, a huge, huge weekend for Clemson. They've got to win games. I know that Monty Lee said they're in, and their projections are they're in, but lose this series and fall under 500 on the year, and then go to Charlotte next week and not win a couple of games. I mean, can a 500 Clemson team get into the NCAA tournament? The run for Duke scored on a wild pitch. So
That has
off
sort
to a
of
little
been
bit of a shaky
Clemson's.
start there.
It's been Clemson's MO, hasn't it? Here of late, Phil, they've almost gifted runs to the opponent seemingly on a daily, if not a game by game basis. And I understand why Coach Lee told us that he feels like his team is in. I don't think they are at this point in time, especially if they were to lose this series and not perform well at the ACC tournament. I just can't imagine they'll get in. But I think Clemson right now getting the benefit of reputation, maybe more so than judgment on this year's team, but they can't afford to lose this series. They have got to turn this around tonight. And you would think early 1-0, that's not a major uh, deficit to overcome. But boy, when you gift the opponent a run on a wild pitch, that's a tough way to get it started.
Absolutely. Lineup is set for South Carolina for its opener tonight against Tennessee. And as we look at it, it looks fairly normal for the Gamecocks. Allen in center leading off, Eister in right, Clark DHing, Seitler in left, Wimmer at second, Mendham at first, Burgess back behind the plate, Heinrich at third, replacing the injured Malone, Khalil at short, and Brandon Jordan on the mound, 5-4, with a 3.66, facing Chad Dallas. He's 8-1, but a 4.25 ERA, but he's got 91 strikeouts in 72 innings. He has given up 14 home runs. That's a lot of home runs allowed in 72 innings. So that's something to keep an eye on for the South Carolina big hitters like Wes Clark. I mean, if you get the wind blowing out, you might be able to tattoo this guy a little bit. But he is 8-1, but the ERA is up there a little bit. And South Carolina is set to take on Tennessee in a huge series for them. 3-game series beginning tonight at a full house, I'm sure. Full house Founders Park, Chris. It's going to be a wild atmosphere over there for the Gamecock fans those who've not been able to attend, who have been holding back all their emotions the entire baseball season. Now they can cut loose for 3 games over the next 3 nights.
And it should be the perfect time to do so. Weather ought to be outstanding both tonight, tomorrow night, and then on Saturday afternoon might be a little warm. But the one thing about Dallas, Chad Dallas in particular, Carolina's going to have to hit their way on because he's not going to help them out. You mentioned the 91 strikeouts, Phil, but I think more impressively, only 15 walks allowed this season. You put that in comparison to the 43 issued by Brandon Jordan in just about the same amount of innings. Jordan has pitched just 6 fewer innings than Chad Dallas has. So South Carolina struggles at the plate. They're going to have to fix that and hopefully carry some momentum maybe from the Kentucky series because Dallas is not one that's going to help them and put them on base. They're going to have to hit their way on.
Yes, no question about it. Gamecocks, they are I don't know. Their offense is just hard to figure out. They had a great offensive weekend at Kentucky. Maybe that's more because of what Kentucky can't do. But they only managed, 4 hits the other night against Appalachian State pitching. And, of course, against the better teams that they have faced, the nationally ranked teams that they have faced quite a bit, the offense hasn't been there, especially the first game of the series. I mean, you go back to Kentucky, and they scored 4 runs in the first frame of the first game there, and it was like a celebration. Hey, the Gamecocks have finally scored in the first inning. I went back and added it up for every first inning of every SEC game this season prior to that Kentucky game last weekend. If my memory's right, Chris, I think they'd only scored a total of 5 runs in the first inning of every SEC game. The first inning of every SEC game up to that first game against Kentucky. They scored like a total of 5 runs in the first inning. That puts you behind the 8 ball against the best teams and puts the pressure on your pitcher.
Well, you look at the matchup between these two pitchers going against the opposing batting order. It's not like Tennessee's hitting the cover off the baseball. Outside of Liam Spence and Jake Rucker, their first and third place hitters. Nobody in that lineup bats better than 277 on the season. So they are very similar. Mark Kingston has mentioned this numerous times here this week, but they are very similar in terms of batting average and the whole 9 yards. But they've got to figure out a way. This is where Mississippi State made its hay against the Gamecocks a couple of weekends ago. They've got to make sure that Spence, Ferguson, and Rucker, top 3 in Tennessee's order, don't get off to a good start in the opening frame tonight, because if they could do and sort of reverse the trend and continue that point you just brought up about scoring in the opening inning, if they could do that tonight and get that home crowd behind them, which they haven't had for the most part, if they can get that home crowd behind them and to make some noise, I think that would be a big, big factor in this weekend. And as we talk, Duke has just added another run, Phil, and they're now up 2-0, top of the second against the Tigers.
On the mound for the Tigers tonight, we have Anglin, and he has, through 1 inning, allowed a couple of hits. He has struck out 3. But you're right, Duke in the top of the second now has added a second run and now leads it 2-0. It was a home run. Crabtree homer down the right field line, leading off the top of the second for Duke. So the Blue Devils out to the 2-0 lead. Not a good start there for the Tigers. Also coming up on the show tonight at 7:05, looking forward to this, Mike Foster from the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame is going to join us. And the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame has announced some award winners, high school football players around the state of South Carolina who have won awards, and he's going to share that information with us here on Sports Talk and talk about what they are doing with this program, something that Levon Kirkland is involved with quite a bit as well. It's their Bridge Builder Excellent Award, top 10 finalists. So these are the guys who have won the awards to this point, and they're the top 10 finalists in their areas for this Bridge Builder Excellent Award. They're high school football players. And so we'll talk about these guys with Mike Foster, which brings up a story I'd rather not bring up. So I'll pass it along, though, for those who have not heard. But we lost a great high school football coach in our state this week, and I was sorry to read. I was thumbing through the newspaper yesterday. I had not heard this news, and um, ran across this obituary, and I want to pass along the news of the. Let's see here. Hang on just a second. I'll make sure I get this right. Um, Coach Jim Frazier. Coach Jim Frazier from TL Hanna passed away earlier this week. I think he was 91 years old. One of the best coaches in our state, 23 years at TL Hanna. His son, Chuck, he coached football, coached high school football, played at Wofford, I believe. But Coach Frazier was a terrific individual and a great football coach, of course, but a terrific individual. I got to know him during my visits to the Anderson Touchdown Club over the years. He was one of the guys who would introduce the program and add some levity to the program. He was kind of like the comedian of the show up there. So I'm going to miss Coach Frazier, a terrific individual. His funeral services will be tomorrow, Presbyterian Church in Anderson. So want to just pass along our thoughts about him and wish his family well. And again, sorry to hear about the passing of one of the elite football coaches in our state, Jim Frazier. Chris, he did a great job. I mean, he's been retired for a long, long time. He was 90 something years old at his passing. So he's been out of the game, I don't know, 25, 30 years. But he left a legacy there at TL Hanna. The field is named after him and was just so highly respected across the state.
It's kind of interesting, Phil, if you look through some of the notable names in terms of coaching in South Carolina, most of them have retired or unfortunately in Coach Frazier's situation have passed away. Thinking of the Keith Richardsons and the Shell Doulas and the John McKissicks and now the Jackie Hayes over at Dillon who retired this after this past season. A lot of the top flight coaches who have built programs and built dynasties around our state starting to either move into retirement or unfortunately leaving us all together. And it's a real shame. So we should celebrate the guys like Tom Knotts who have turned Dutch Fork into the monster that they have and in Abbeville and some of the teams around the state who have done just terrific jobs over the last 5, 10, 15 years, because unfortunately those type dynasties I think are starting to go away, and we don't get to recognize them until it's too late. We don't realize what we're enjoying, I don't think, until it's gone away.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I enjoyed visiting with Coach Frazier whenever I had the opportunity to just to cut the fool with him. You know, he was one of those guys, George, that you could throw your arm around, and he could deliver a punchline about you to kind of make people laugh at you, but he could take a punchline going back at him. I would see, guys like George Duckworth up at the Anderson Touchdown Club. They would exchange barbs with one another during the meetings. It's just a heck of a lot of fun. Coaches, man, coaches, you got to love them.
Sport, and usually the folks that like the coach you're referring to, they leave a legacy. Mm-hmm. And the ones that he had influence on, well, they'll carry the torch, making football a better game. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Football is one of my favorite sports.
Did you play it growing up or strictly golf?
It was. I'm 5'8", 150 pounds.
Well, so how big do you think?
Well, in this radio seat, see, I like the idea that you can actually see. That's right. The truth, though. So so now I can grow.
Outside George, the screen. Now you can tell people you're bigger. You got the frame. I'm thinking, George.
How big do you think, Hunter? How big was Renfro?
Fast. He was
fast.
His.
And he can't hit a driver 350 like you can.
Oh, we hit it farther than that, and we sit in the radio chair.
Yes, absolutely.
See, these seats cause us to grow inside our mind.
Anything happening while we've been yakking?
Mickelson's holding on. Mm-hmm. I've been watching that. I'm rooting hard for him.
Yeah.
And it is interesting. The wind is not nearly what it was when I watched it earlier today. So looks like fun golf to me, Phil.
Corey Connors is in at 5 under 67. He is your leader, and he's got a 2-shot lead over a handful. Keegan Bradley, Victor Hovland, Brooks Koepka, Aaron Wise, and Sam Horsfield We're going to get a live report from Matt Ward at the Ocean Course coming up after the break.
Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here is tonight's forecast. Clear and refreshing this evening, a low dipping to 58. Tomorrow, the warm-up continues. Sunshine all day, a high of 88. Now, for the weekend, Saturday's warm, 90 and sunny skies. Sunday's hot, more sunshine and 96. And brace yourself for Monday and Tuesday. We will flirt with 100 degrees, and it's not quite June yet. I'm Kevin Cohen with your On Point local weather.
Hi, this is Jennifer Coolidge. The American Heart Association says the disco song Stayin' Alive is the near-perfect beat for hands-only CPR. If you see a teen or adult collapse from cardiac arrest, you only need 2 steps to help save a life. Call 911 and push hard and fast in the center of the chest to the beat of the song Stayin' Alive. Disco is back and it's saving lives. To learn more, go to heart.org/hands-only-CPR.
Nationally supported by the WellPoint Foundation.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Biden on Thursday hailed the impending ceasefire and the fighting between Israel and Hamas, saying he sees a genuine opportunity toward the larger goal of building a lasting peace in the Middle East. Biden credited the Egyptian government with playing a crucial role in brokering the ceasefire and said he and top White House aides were intensely involved in an hour-by-hour effort to stop the bloodletting. The president spoke soon after Israel and Hamas announced the ceasefire would go into effect at 2 a.m. Friday, ending an 11-day war that caused widespread destruction in the Gaza Strip and brought life in much of Israel to a halt. The fighting killed at least 227 in Gaza and 12 in Israel. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 188 points, the Nasdaq rose 236, the S&P 500 advanced 43. More details at srnnews.com.
Are you ready to make your money work for you rather than you working for your money? Dave Ramsey here. Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union, serving the Midlands since 1936. Palmetto Citizens is not a mega bank, so you can count on good old-fashioned customer service and the profits going back to you. Plus, they care about your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org, federally insured by the NCUA.
Spring is more than pollen season. It also means it's termite season. Palmetto Exterminators offers a free inspection at your home to determine any possible issues. Palmetto Exterminators offers the best termite agreement anywhere, but they do so much more. They offer complete pest control, mosquito control, wildlife trapping and removal, and nobody, I mean nobody, can offer you more peace of mind at your home or business. Now, how do I know that? Well, I never tell you to use someone like Palmetto Exterminators unless I practice what I preach. Now, I've been a customer for 19 years, and they are wonderful. My guy, Ron Byers, and his team over at Palmetto Exterminators, they've looked after my family forever. We have no pest control issues whatsoever, but if we did, all it takes is one phone call, and Palmetto Exterminators will fix it. It's pretty simple. Call Palmetto Exterminators and cross pest control right off your list of concerns. Online, it's palmettoexterminators.net, or give my guy Ron a call, 254-5833.
Hey, I'm State Representative Chris Wooten. And I'm State Representative Micah Cassidy. Join us on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. on The Rep.
We'll talk about everything that's happening at the State House and give you an insider's perspective.
All from the General Assembly. So join us at 9 a.m. on The Point, 100.7 FM or 1470 a.m.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Starting May 27th, get the Janssen one-shot COVID-19 vaccine at Columbia Place Mall on Two Notch Road until June 9th. Everyone 18 and older is eligible for the Janssen vaccine. No appointment, ID, or insurance required. Translators are on site and free rides are being provided by The Comet. For more information, call 1-866-365-8110. That's 1-866-365-8110.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
The Point.
Okay, we're back on Sports Talk. We are at the Players Club here in downtown Columbia. Phil Kornblut and George Bryan here. We have Pat Daniel back at our studios in downtown Columbia. Chris Bergen at his studio over in the PD. In just a moment, we're going to go out to the Ocean Course and get you more from what is happening there here in the final few players of the opening round of the 103rd PGA Championship. And again, George, it's should you be surprised that a guy like Corey Connors is leading by 2 at this point, or based on what he's done the last 2 Masters, you feel like this is a guy that's very capable of not only the fact that he's leading here, but could win this whole thing if he can, keep it going the next 3 days.
This is the first round, and you said he could win it, that's a beautiful thought. Like to see these new young players get in the mix, but first round, it's a long, long, long way till the 4th day.
Yeah,
and so it is neat to see. I just watched John Rahm make a swing at it on the 18, and we just watched Mickelson short side himself on the last hole. I hope Mickelson can get in at -2, and he's somebody that we know can win it. I would really like to see that happen.
Well, you always like, not to take away anything from any of these golfers because they're all great, and to a certain degree, some of them have some marquee quality to them, Koepka, for example, but you do want to see a McIlroy, a Mickelson, since there is no Woods available, you do want to see one of the true marquee players competing on Sunday and having a chance. You don't always want to have an unknown. And the PGA tends to, am I right about this? The PGA tends to produce more unknown champions than the other 3 majors?
You got a point. It does seem to have some of the new young players that end up in contention, and then even with the win. And we looked at Padraig Harrington. I just saw a great interview with him earlier, and it seems like this tournament used to be played at the end of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the summer, a lot of games are in season, so the young players began to feel their oats. They've had some experience. However, this is in May. This is not the end of the season. I'd be curious to see how the younger, inexperienced players climb towards the top and then stay there on the weekend. But in August, it's when it used to be, the end of the season, you would see some of the young players that have been a year or 2 on the tour you get 40, 50 tournaments under your belt, you play better nervous.
Sure.
So
we come to you from the 18th Tower here at the Players Club in downtown Columbia. I like that. We've got our own tower. Let's go out to the Ocean Course at Kiowa. Welcome in once again, Matt Ward, senior editor for Golf Today, who's covering the tournament for us here on Sports Talk. He can probably add some insight to what we're talking about, Matt, in terms of unknown players. We say unknown. We're just talking about guys who aren't the talk of the game every day in a PGA championship, rising up and winning the Wanamaker Trophy.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, I mean, it does happen. Probably the most renowned one-time winner who it turned out to be his one swan song was Sean McKeel when he won at Oak Hill. That was the time when the gentleman hit a 7-iron in there about a foot off the Flynn, won the tournament, and that was it. I mean, after that, Sean McKeel, he played on tour for a while, but it's not unheard of for, for a one and done situation. I mean, if you go back in golf history, probably Jack Fleck beat Ben Hogan in a playoff within a 55 U.S. Open title. The guy was a driving range professional before, taking out Hogan during the U.S. Open. But it does happen, and the PGA has had its share. I mean, Sean McKeel is probably the most renowned gentleman who won the championship, and it was done in the August time frame, as it was just mentioned. Now that we're in the May time frame, that may or may not impact what comes on in terms of who will win and not win.
What's your takeaway from this first day as it winds down? It looks like Connors is going to have the overnight lead. I don't foresee anybody overtaking him at this point. You never know about who's coming in, but looks like he's pretty safe and holding the lead at 5 under. What do you think of his play and the overall play of the first day?
Well, I think the main ingredient, I mean, for somebody to shoot 5 under during the afternoon wave of players, I did not think anybody was going to be better than 3 under, given the wind conditions and given what the players had faced in the morning. The thing that's really interesting about this is the players are going to adjust to the wind, and the wind has been coming from the same direction off of the Atlantic, so that the first 4 holes play into the wind. Then you go through a stretch starting at probably at the 6th hole through the 13th hole where you play downwind, and then the 14th to the 18th play back into the wind. Well, that wind pattern is going to stay in effect right through Saturday, and then on Sunday it's going to flip. And at that point in time, that's when the adjustments are going to have to be made, and that will be a big factor because, to give you an example, the 3 toughest holes right now, if you were to take a look at the championship itself, are on the last 4 holes. The 15th hole is the 3rd hardest today, the par 4, and then the 17th hole, the renowned water par 3, is the 2nd toughest hole, and then the 18th hole is hardest hole at playing about 4.5 on a scoring average. Now, when that wind switches on Sunday, everything that I just said about what's happening today, well, now players are going to have to make the adjustment, and in all likelihood, those last 5 holes will basically become birdie opportunities. But just because they're birdie opportunities doesn't mean they just give it to you on the scorecard. You're still going to have to execute and play. So we're going to be seeing some interesting changes here. I don't think it's going to matter as much until we get to Sunday. As far as the major take of the day is concerned, I think you have to look at the leaderboard, and Corey Connors is a fantastic round today. But if you look just below that, and then you see names like, for example, Brooks Koepka is mentioned. I mean, 4-time major champion. He starts off the tournament with a double bogey, and the reason why he's a 4-time major champion is a lot of guys may have panicked after a first hole like that. Brooks Koepka did not panic. He made 6 birdies total for the day, and played with both Rory McIlroy and Justin Thomas. And, for him to be only 2 shots back, I look at him like sort of like the horse that's sitting right off the lead. And there's plenty of kick with this guy. And when you win 4 major championships, his game rises when the stakes get higher. He's been there. He knows what it's all about. He's not intimidated by anybody. So, he's only 2 shots back. I mean, Victor Hovland, one of the real young stars on the tour, he is in contention. He's been playing very solid golf. The defending champion Colin Morikawa is at 2 under par. We mentioned before about Phil Mickelson. I mean, it's a phenomenal day for Phil. I mean, to shoot under par in the afternoon wave is tremendous. I have to just caution all Mickelson fans. I mean, he did shoot 64 at the Wells Fargo, and then basically the plane just crashed and burned for the last 54 holes. So, somebody who's 50 years old, and to be all fairness, I mean, the oldest winner of a major championship is Julius Boros at 48 years old. So, if Phil were to claim the Wanamaker Trophy, it would be a tremendous accomplishment of all accomplishments because he'd be the oldest winner of all time. But, with 54 holes to go, it's kind of really pulling the cart before the horse to say who's going to be the champion. There's much golf to be played. It was good to see Ricky Fowler play good today. I mean, he was under par for his round. I mean, you get another younger star. Will Zalatoris was 2 under par. Stuart Sink, the guy who won at the Heritage a few weeks back, he's at 1 under par. So, there's a mixed bag of names that are near the top. And the question will come down to, of course, who's going to be striking the ball well, because at the Ocean course, it all comes down to you got to be able to get off the tee and be in the right spot. If you're off by just a little bit, this course has serious bite, and the 2 people that can speak to that specifically are the ones who played with Koepka this morning, both Justin Thomas and Rory McIlroy. They missed spots by only a little bit. It didn't take much, but once they got into bad positions, they were forced to scramble. They are not out of it by any stretch of the imagination. I think anybody who makes a look at the scoreboard today and says, oh, well, guy shot 75, he's probably out of it. These guys are fully capable of coming back tomorrow and, shooting a better score. Of course, the flip side to this is those guys who played in the morning, like Koepka, Thomas, and McIlroy, they have to go out in the afternoon wave tomorrow. So it'll be very interesting to see, what shakes out after the 36 holes is finished. But I would not count anybody out in this tournament by any means. I mean, it's very possible that come Sunday, someone who is 6-7 shots back at the start of the day could post a very low number, and the rest of that field will be looking at that number for the balance of the round. So a lot of things can break in a major championship, and a lot of it comes down to how much nerve that you have and how much patience that you show. But Koepka today was, to borrow that phrase of Paul Newman, he was cool hand Koepka today. He kept his game together after a double bogey, and the man is ready to play. And I've seen it firsthand when he's won his 4 major championships. He played at a big time spot when he won at Bethpage. He played with Tiger Woods the first day. Tiger looked really old that first day, but anybody would look old when you shoot 64, 65. I mean, that's the kind of game he brings to the table. And if you're not really ready to play, then you're going to be experiencing that direct. But, the younger stars are right there. I mean, Colin Morikawa has experience. He's the defending champion. Victor Hovland has shown what he can do. He clearly is on the stage to maybe win a major championship. And then you got Will Zalatoris, who played phenomenally in the Masters. Corey Connors played well in the Masters in the top 10 position. So a lot of these guys are all in that mix, and it'll be interesting to see, again, what happens over the next 54 holes.
Mm-hmm. Matt Ward covering the PGA Championship for us from the Ocean Course on Kiowa Island here on Sports Talk. And Matt, quick thoughts on 2 of the players, and I'll follow back up with Brooks Koepka in a moment. But Dustin Johnson in particular, he's 2 over par. And I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, I feel like he could probably have a better round if he could make some putts. It just didn't seem like his putter was working well for him. Do you agree with that? And also, Brooks Koepka shooting in the 60s, the 69 today, his 32nd round in the majors in the 60s since 2017, by far the most of anybody on tour. But with his recent knee surgery and the injuries he's dealt with, can he keep that kind of play up over the course of the next 3 days?
Well, let's talk about Dustin Johnson first. I mean, I have a huge amount of respect for DJ. I mean, his capabilities. I mean, you don't get to be the world-ranked #1 player. They don't give it to you, and he has earned it. I mean, he's been at the top for over 130 collective weeks in his career. But at the end of the day, it's really about how well are you playing coming into a tournament. Some guys can find their game and raise the stakes. He is one of those players. It's very capable. Of course, he'll be going out in the morning wave tomorrow. So if you're a Dustin Johnson fan, clearly he's going to be in a position maybe where he can make a move tomorrow and get into the red numbers. I mean, even if he were to finish +1 or even par and he's got 36 holes to go, DJ is very capable of playing a weekend total of, say, 135 or even less on the weekend. And this is the kind of guy, when he gets it going, it becomes almost like a tidal wave effect. And it can he can really build the momentum from what he's done previously. And when you have won 20+ times on tour and you've been in those spots before, he's very capable of doing that. In terms of Koepka, you're absolutely right. I mean, Brooks is never going to, I mean, I saw him at the press conference today. He is just going to give you name, rank, and serial number at his press conference. Yeah. I mean, he is not going to let on, about, the fact that he's in pain. I mean, he comes off with the macho, I'm ready to play and I'm taking no prisoners when I go out there. And the bottom line to this is, I don't think he's going to use it as an excuse. To his credit, he doesn't keep it on the back of his burner and says, if I played bad, oh, by the way, the knee hurt me today. So he doesn't use excuses one way or the other, but it'll be interesting to see, can he hold up for the 72-hole duration? But make no mistake about it, if you're Corey Connors or Will Zalatoris or any one of these young players, and you're playing with a 4-time major champion, I can tell you that this guy is not going to blink. And you had better be ready to play, because you don't take on people like Tiger Woods at Belle Reve when he won the championship. And I mean, people were screaming out of the top of their lungs when Tiger was making a move. and Koepka held his pulse together when other guys probably would have folded like a cheap suit. I mean, that's the way it went down at Belle Reve. I have to say, with 54 holes to go, there's a lot of talent at the top of the leaderboard, and a lot of things can change between now and Sunday. But I think the more important thing will be watch for the wind direction and how this will impact as we get into Sunday, because then the wind will change, and players, after playing a course 3 days in a row with the wind coming from one direction, are going to have to shift to another direction. That's a major adjustment, especially on a final round Sunday for a major championship.
Okay, Matt, great stuff from the Ocean Course. We appreciate it very much. You have yourself a great rest of the afternoon, overnight. Look forward to being with you tomorrow night here on Sports Talk. Thank you very much, sir.
Guys, always a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you, Matt.
Pleasure is all ours. Matt Ward giving us great stuff from the Ocean Course, right there on the scene, watching everything play out. And this is a guy that's covered over 100 major championships in his career, and is a senior editor for Golf Today. So he knows the game inside and out, knows the players inside and out. He might even know, I'll ask him tomorrow if he's aware of the Bryan brothers and their impact on the game of golf. In fact, I saw a new video put out today by the Bryan brothers. Is that thing gone, as they say, viral, George?
I doubt it.
Hmm?
I don't. Yeah, there you go. That's
I mean, I don't know what what G4 was trying to do there, and I guess that was G4 in the video, right?
I have no idea. I hadn't seen it yet.
Seen it? I'll show it to you here during the break. We got to go to a break. We're running late. Got to go to a break, and we'll be back. Give you the recruiting report. Update some other things, including Clemson and Duke. They're going to the fourth already, and the Tigers are down 2-0. They do have a couple of hits, but they've left 2. And Duke with a couple of hits, but they've scored 2. And they've left 2, but they've got the 2 on the board. 2-0 Duke going to the top of the fourth. We'll be back in a moment.
The Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology at Florence Darlington Technical College specializes in sophisticated manufacturing services and workforce development training. The SIMT offers rapid prototyping, additive manufacturing, advanced machining, and business incubation services to clients from across the state and nation, plus social media listening services and rentals of conferencing and training spaces. The SIMT also houses an 800-seat auditorium, a conference center that can seat more than 1,200 for dinner or a luncheon, and numerous classroom spaces with state-of-the-art presentation technologies. Visit our website at simt.com or call 866-304-7468 for more information. The SIMT, technology to grow your business.
Welcome to Tiny Stories with me, Tina Tiny. Today we're with Dirk, a didgeridoo artist.
Sorry, just warming up my lips.
So glad we're wearing masks.
I won $4 on Powerball, invested it all to crowdfund my first album.
Wow, a whole album of that.
I'm calling it Didgeridoo-Da-Day.
You're freaking me out, Dirk.
This one's for you, Tina.
And that's all from the South Carolina Education Lottery. Tell your tiny story at tellyourtinystory.com.
There are no words to describe it. The isolation, the boredom, the loneliness. If you're wondering where your teenage son or daughter's spirit went, you're hardly alone. The past year has been devastating, especially for them. But here's the good news. They might just find it again, playing high school sports. Workouts that stimulate, teammates and coaches that care, the sense of belonging so many of us have been missing lately. That's what school sports are all about. The sense of achievement is real, and the camaraderie is hard to beat. Coping with uncertainty is difficult, but school sports can help the teenagers in your family start feeling like themselves again. Encourage them to give it a try. High school sports, it's so much more than a game.
This message presented by the South Carolina High School League and the South Carolina Athletic Administrators Association.
Stay tuned. More Sports Talk is coming up on the Sports Talk Media Network. The future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Player practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit maincoursesc.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia.
Hi, this is Phil Kornblut of Sports Talk, here with Major Billy Downer of the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer, if there's one thing baseball fans love as much as their teams, it's being on the water.
That's right, Phil. DNR wants to remind boaters to file a float plan before you go on the water this summer. Let family or friends know where you're going and when you plan to return. Be specific and always wear your life jacket. It just might save your life. Take a boater education course and have a great summer.
Founders is offering a low-rate mortgage with up to $4,000 in closing costs to full-time hospital employees, honoring your frontline efforts against COVID-19. With no PMI, no origination fee, and no limit on the loan amount, you can't go wrong. Visit founders.com/HEC and apply for your hospital employee choice mortgage today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. Institution NMLS identifier number 410646. Founders is an equal housing lender and is federally insured by the NCUA.
What goes great with a major golf championship? How about a dose of recruiting here on Sports Talk, brought to you by Seawells? Had the great pleasure of lunch at Seawells today, and it was fantastic. Went out with our good friend, gentleman Jim Corbett. He was coming off not a round at the Ocean Course, but he walked around the Ocean Course, okay? He didn't swing any clubs. He just swang his feet back and forth.
Swang?
And is that a word? Swang? He swung. Swing, swang, swung? He swung his feet back and forth, whatever. He walked around the course. We had a great lunch at Seawells today. You can have a great lunch as well tomorrow. Their daily luncheon buffet, 11 to 2, and Monday through Friday. Also, now that they're opening Williams-Brice up to a full capacity, they want you to know that they are now, once again, preparing to sell parking spaces for the upcoming college football season. Season and game day parking at Seawells, which is very convenient to Williams-Brice. So you want to give them a call, 803-771-7385, or email seawellscatering@gmail.com. That's 803-771-7385 or seawellscatering@gmail.com. Want to grab one of those spaces before it becomes too late. Very good location, and they'll have tailgating, and they'll have takeout orders for you as well for the coming football season. Never too soon to prepare for the football season. So, defensive tackle Felix Hickson, 6'4", 280 of Jackson, Georgia, about to hit the final stretch of his recruiting. Official visits will be the final pieces of the commitment puzzle. How about that little piece of writing? That's forming in Hickson's mind. Poetry in motion, George, poetry in motion. He will go into his visits, he said, with a little bit of a feeling about a favorite, and the visits will help him formalize that decision sometime in July. He goes to Wisconsin June 4th, USC on the 7th, Illinois on the 11th, Georgia Tech on the 18th, Virginia on the 25th. As far as South Carolina is concerned, he said, it's real good with them. He's in contact with Jimmy Lindsey maybe twice a week. He has talked to Shane Beamer just the other day, as a matter of fact, checking up on him. He's looking forward, however, to meeting the coaches in person for the first time. USC target offensive tackle Jacob Allen of Princeton, New Jersey, committed tonight to Rutgers. Tight end TJ Ivy, 6'5", 260, transferring to Coastal Carolina from Indiana, missed all of last season with an injury. USC target running back Ramon Brown of Midlothian, Virginia, offered by Tennessee, has an official with the Gamecocks June 7th. Running back George Pettaway of Norfolk, Virginia, who had a USC offer, did not include the Gamecocks in his top 10. Ole Miss, Michigan, Florida, Virginia Tech, Alabama, North Carolina, Auburn, Oregon, Virginia, and Penn State in that top 10. USC offered 2023 linebacker Troy Ford Jr. of Savannah. And that will take care of recruiting for now here on Sports Talk. We'll be back after the top of the hour break.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. President Biden hailed the Mideast ceasefire from the White House this evening.
Prime Minister Netanyahu informed me that Israel has agreed to a mutual unconditional ceasefire to begin in less than 2 hours. The Egyptians have now informed us that Hamas and the other groups in Gaza have also agreed.
Mr. Biden reiterated his administration's support for Israel's right to exist versus Hamas's commitment to Israel's destruction. Experts are predicting a busy Atlantic storm season, but not as bad as in 2020.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is forecasting that the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season will be busier than normal. Forecasters expect 13 to 20 named storms, with up to 10 of those becoming hurricanes, and 3 to 5 major hurricanes, with winds of more than 110 miles an hour. Lead forecaster Matt Rosenkrantz points to warmer water, reduced crosswinds, stormy weather coming off of Africa, and no El Nino weather event, which would typically squelch Atlantic hurricane activity. In 2020, there were 30 named storms, so many that meteorologists started naming them after letters in the Greek alphabet. Jennifer King, Washington.
The National Weather Service is warning more rain is expected in Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. National Weather Service forecaster David Roth says over the next 2 days, areas of Louisiana and Texas could get heavy rainfall.
In southern Louisiana and southeast Texas, over that time frame, we have 1 to 3 inches of rain forecast. But that's aerial average. There could be local amounts higher, like in the 5-inch range.
At least 15 people have been rescued from flash flooding in Arkansas. Forecasters say 2 to 4 inches of rain could fall in southeast Texas and southwest Louisiana in the next couple of days, 2 areas that have already been hard hit. On Wall Street, a good day as the Dow was up by 188 points. The NASDAQ rose 236. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful in lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question. Pete and Seth Talbot, the father and son founders of Relief Factor, tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor selected the 4 best ingredients, 100% drug-free ingredients that each help your body deal with inflammation. Order the 3-week quick start now. Discount it to only $19.95 to see if it will work for you too. Call 800-500-8384. ReliefFactor.com.
They say, if you love something, set it free. At LifeLock, we say, what a load of bull hockey. All that saving up and paying off debt, and now some identity thief wants to set it free? Crazy talk. LifeLock helps monitor your info and alerts you to potential identity threats. If you become a victim, we'll help fix it. No one can monitor all transactions, but LifeLock helps you keep what's yours. Save up to 25% off your first year at LifeLock.com with promo code SMART.
Taiwan is facing its worst outbreak of COVID-19 so far.
The authorities have announced a worrisome 63 new cases, not having a clear connection to existing cases. In the last week, the island has recorded more than 1,000 cases alone, accounting for more than a third of its pandemic total of 2,825. Now schools are shut for 2 weeks. Indoor gatherings of more than 5 people are banned, and outdoor gatherings of more than 10 people. Most cases hitherto were among travellers. The island had been hailed for its success in keeping out the virus through robust public health measures like quarantines and contact tracing. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
The chief executive of Colonial Pipeline is set to testify before Congress next month about a cyber attack that caused the company to halt operations for several days, causing long gas lines, mostly along the East Coast. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
What can I possibly do to make this stressful time a little better? Here's one thing I found. It's a small thing, a simple thing, a remarkable thing. Smile. You can share a smile from more than 6 feet apart. You can share it socially with the whole world. In fact, right now, I'm smiling at you. And I hope you're smiling back because smiling is in you from passiton.com.
Oh, you pressed the wrong button. Oh, residual.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, we're back on Sports Talk on this Thursday night. We're at the Players Club in downtown Columbia. Phil Kornblut and George Bryan from the 18th Tower here at the TPC. Don't confuse that with TPC down in Ponte Vedra, TPC on Main Street. Tell everybody about why they should be here, George.
Well, first of all, you got an option to play a number of golf courses under simulated conditions, but in perfect temperature.
Yes.
And
I think it's like 68 degrees in here.
Yeah, and that's as we watch Sergio, I think he just hit the edge of the green. And so I'm not sure about the ocean course if we can dial that in, but I'm a just weak for Pebble Beach and Harbor Town, and some of those that I'm familiar with the holes and the shots, and and in addition to simulated golf, you also have good food, spirits, and Scott Taylor's on duty tonight. Taylor Wright's one of the golf pros. Scott Oligus is another, and you got music, food, spirits, simulated golf, community fellowship, and then you got big screens to watch the PGA. So
fantastic.
I don't know what's on. I don't know what you have on your plate or in your plans for tonight, tomorrow night, but this is the place to be right here.
Now, this is a members only operation, the Players Club upstairs, but they have room for members. They're
But
still
the
taking
public,
some memberships.
The general public can actually reserve tee times on the fourth floor.
Yes.
So we're on the third floor, which doesn't mean if you're not a member you can't come visit. In fact, we'll invite you in to visit.
But they got the great restaurants downstairs and across the street.
Across the street, we had lunch yesterday at the Grand, which there's a bowling alley in the back, but great food there. There's a fitness center. If you decide that you want to get in a schedule of training and work out before or after the round. So there's also a vegan restaurant right next door. Ice cream shop.
Can't say I've ever set foot in that.
Well, I haven't eaten there either, but there's an ice cream shop right across the street that is awfully tasty. They have much more in this. Is actually medical. There's Revive, physical therapy, and I'll tell you what, my focus though is golf.
Yeah.
And we have, you were hitting some yesterday.
Oh,
did you go work on it, by the way?
I did.
I gave you some ideas.
Yeah. I looked at the video. George took a video of me. I don't really like people videoing me, but George took a video of me, and I was able to look at that and see how I, don't do things the right way. Let me do a couple of quick things. Clemson down 2-0 to Duke, bottom of the fourth. Runners on the corners for the Tigers. They have one out, trying to break through against Duke, South Carolina, and Tennessee just getting underway. By the way, Harris Pastides threw out the first pitch tonight. The former president, now interim president at South Carolina. And I'm sure that was a thrill for everybody. Bottom of the first, South Carolina and Tennessee, they are scoreless, bottom of the first. So in the top of the first, looks like Tennessee got a walk with 2 outs, but then a ground out ended that. So South Carolina's batting in the bottom of the first inning. We'll update some other baseball for you as well in just a little bit. As far as the PGA goes, no major changes since our break. Corey Connors is in at 67, 5 under. Keegan Bradley, Victor Hovland, Brooks Koepka, Aaron Wise, Sam Horsfield. They're all 3 under 69. Cam Davis has appeared on the leaderboard at 3 under as he is through 14 holes. Something happened? Something changed?
Yes. We have not talked about Patrick Rada, who shot 4 over today.
Former Gamecock.
And from Anderson, South Carolina. And it's really cool. He's his family I know Ken Rada is out watching. And
He's in by virtue of what?
he finished top 20 in the PGA Club Pro Championship.
Gotcha.
So the Patrick Rada is one of my favorite. What a great young man he is. Head pro at MacArthur Club down in Jupiter or just outside of West Palm Beach. So he's at 4 over par 76. Very respectable
Very
start.
respectable.
He's played, I think, 2 events in the last 14 months. And actually, I think this would be his 3rd. So when you're not playing that much, that's a really good score.
Okay, let's shift gears for a moment and talk some football here in South Carolina. We welcome from the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame to Sports Talk, a regular visitor. Mike Foster is joining us here. Mike, good evening. How are you, sir? Good to have you with us once again.
Good evening, guys. It's always a pleasure being on with you guys, and appreciate you guys having the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame on with y'all.
Well, you guys, of course, do so many great things for football in the state of South Carolina, professionally, collegiately, and high school. And today, you guys announced top 10 finalists for the Bridge Builder Excellence Award. Tell us what that's all about and how you got to these top 10 high schoolers.
Yeah. This is the second year we've been able to do this, and of course, we've been dealing with COVID the last 2 years regarding this award, and so that's made things a little bit tougher. But we wanted to be able to celebrate South Carolina football at the high school level by honoring student athletes who are doing well academically, on the field, and in their community, being leaders in their community, giving back to their community, but as well as taking care of themselves on and off the field. And that's a big part of our mission at the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. We want to educate, empower, and encourage our students to be successful in their college and career and life endeavors. And so this award kind of goes to that. We appreciate Spinks helping us support this award. Today we announced the top 10. We started with 54 nominations throughout the state. And a couple of weeks ago, we announced a top 27 semifinalist list. And today is a top 10. We're going to roll with this top 10 for a little bit. We want to get them on with Levon Kirkland to do a little bit of a segment with him over the summer that we'll release out to the general public to get to know these guys. And then the plan, if we follow last year's plan, we will announce a winner at our Bridge Builder Excellence Award ceremony and benefit on July 21st this year at Zen downtown Greenville. And we'll announce the winner at that time. I don't know that we'll announce before that, but we want to get some people kind of excited about this top 10 because all these guys have done so well on the field as well as in the classroom, and we want to really celebrate that.
Well, do you want to run through the list for us, or do you want me to pass it out?
Sure. Yeah, no, sure. I'd love to. We got Ryan going in alphabetical order. Ryan Berger from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Myrtle Beach High School, quarterback there. Then you have Paul Davis from out in Columbia, South Carolina, and Spring Valley High School. He's a cornerback that's going to be going to Carnegie Mellon University and playing football there in the fall. Miller DiArmond from Greer, South Carolina, Greer High School, a wide receiver there going to Western Carolina. Eli Henderson from Burns High School in Spartanburg, South Carolina, offensive lineman. Then you have another offensive lineman in William Jeffcoat from Pelion High School in Pelion, South Carolina. That dude has over a 5 GPA. I don't even know how you do that, but
Michael,
doing it.
I know you didn't grow up in South Carolina, but we've got to call it Pelion. It's Pelion High School.
Pelion. Okay, I got you. Pelion. I appreciate you helping me out with that. Then you got
That's okay.
Nehemiah Nemo Squire from Darlington, South Carolina. Dylan plays at Dillon High School from Connections Academy. He's a running back. Malik Stowers from Anderson, South Carolina, and Westside High School, offensive lineman. You have Malik Thomas from Fox Creek High School in North Augusta. He's a linebacker tight end who's planning to go play for Gardner Webb in the fall. And then you have Carlin Waymeyers, who's from Orangeburg, South Carolina, and Hunter Kennard Tyler High School. He's a defensive lineman. And he's staying right there in Orangeburg, going to SC State in the fall. And then you have Ashton Whitner from Greenville, South Carolina, Greenville High School. He's a defensive back who's getting a lot of interest right now as far as offers. And so we're excited about that. But all these guys had to have an over 3.2 overall GPA, and all these guys, I think, were over 3.6 on the scale. So they were all doing work in the classroom during their high school careers up to this point. So that's really impressive.
Mike Foster, the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame, with us tonight here on Sports Talk, talking about an outstanding opportunity for some young men in our state to be honored as part of the Hall of Fame with the 2021 Bridge Builder Excellence Award. And Mike, of the 10, I'm kind of going through here and listening to you and running through the schools. It looks like 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A all represented. How did you come up with the list of finalists, and how much were the coaches and the schools involved in your selection process?
Yeah, the coaches and the schools, administrators are huge advocates for this process, and they're the ones who really give us the kids that stand out to them, the good young men, and they give them to us, and then we have a committee that we go through and look at each and everything. Obviously, we want to get a wide variety of kids from all over the state, from different levels. And of course, we have even the commitment level of these athletes are from D2, D1, FCS level as well. So it's a fun group all over the state. We got some on the coast. We have some in Orangeburg. We have some in North Augusta. We have some in the upstate. And of course, we have some in the Midlands region as well. So trying to cover and celebrate the whole state and what is being accomplished in our high schools.
Not sure you could have found a better person to sort of tie into this in terms of recognition here in our state. And Levon Kirkland, how big a part is he in this whole process? And are you looking for a player in this? Excuse me, Mike, this is awfully difficult comparison, but are you looking for someone that sort of fits the mold of Levon Kirkland, not just good on the field, but also in the classroom and in the community?
Oh, absolutely. He's a huge proponent of this process and of these young kids, and he always believed. He always tells us, "Man, I'm from the small city of Lamar, South Carolina. I wasn't supposed to be a superstar at Clemson and a superstar NFL player, but that's where I ended up being. And I had people in my life that helped me get to those places and teach me the things that I needed to do to be successful. And so we want to provide that kind of support to the kids here, to the young men here in South Carolina, so that way they can also find their dreams, whether it is playing football at the next level or not, whether college or pros. Everybody needs support in some way to get to their next level, and this is one way that we're able to do that. And of course, having an opportunity to open up the phone lines or a conversation with Levon, with these finalists, is a special thing to do, and kind of course, we call it the Bridge Builder Excellence Award. We're bridging that gap between generations of people, success, and really being able to tell stories of success to help these young people be successful when they're moving on to their next step, whatever that might be.
Well, we tip our cap. We salute all you guys, you, Levon, the whole group, for continuing to do what you do, and really the young history of this organization. You've done so much. And thanks for joining us tonight and putting out the names of these young men who deserve a great deal of praise. You know, we have so much to criticize, and people are so quick to criticize young people these days. It's good to throw some praise out there on some youngsters, and these guys deserve it. Some, as you mentioned, are moving on to college. Some will be back in high school this year. So We thank you. We'll be in touch. Looking forward to what's next on the agenda for you guys with the Hall of Fame, and keep in touch with us.
We will absolutely do that. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Go to scfootballhof.org to learn more about what we do.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, sir. Always good talking to you. Mike Foster from the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. And I think they're going to try and have an induction ceremony inducting the last two classes, the most recent class and the one that got skipped over because of COVID. I think they're going to try and do that this summer to get back on track. So that certainly is good. I hope the South Carolina Athletic Hall of Fame can get going again with induction ceremony since we missed last year as well. Clemson scratched out a run in the bottom of the fourth against Duke to get on the board. Tigers are down 2-1. And Wright, who came on in that series down at Florida State and gave them a spark, got a sacrifice fly to get the run in. So the Tigers are down 2-1. That game's already in the top of the fifth inning. South Carolina, Tennessee, they're in the bottom of the second, a no score. And South Carolina just coming to bat in the bottom of the second after a 1-2-3 inning for Tennessee. So good start for Brandon Jordan on the mound tonight so far for the Gamecocks. It is early. He has thrown 30 pitches through the first two innings, and 21 of those pitches went for strikes. He has struck out 3 at this point. As for Tennessee starter Dallas, he also has 3 strikeouts. And as he goes to the bottom of the second, 11 pitches, 9 for strikes. So he is right there in the strike zone tonight. Maybe at some point he'll be hittable. We shall see. All right, after the break, we'll update what's going on in late first-round play of the PGA Championship at the Ocean Course. We're going to hear from Brooks Koepka, and if we have our chance to get audio in from the leader, Connors, we'll get that to you as well. George Bryan will add more about what's been going on in day one of the Ocean Course. We are at the Players Club in downtown Columbia. We're back in a moment.
The future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Player practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit maincoursesc.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia.
Hey, folks, mortgage rates have dipped to their lowest levels in recent history. And with home values up in many areas, now may be the perfect time to refinance your home. Whether you're looking to lower your monthly payments, free up cash for home improvements, or just pay off your home faster, a quick call to the one and only Stuart Wingo of Ameris Bank could save you money. If you're looking for competitive rates and exceptional service, call Stuart Wingo. 803-319-1777. That's 803-319-1777. You will save money just like I have so many times over the years. You can also visit him, amerisbank.com/Stuart Wingo. Stuart Wingo, the man with the plan for all your mortgage needs.
There are many things to like about the Carolinas, and one of those is Founders Federal Credit Union Founders Online, the Founders app, and using your Founders cards and digital wallets are just some of the perks you'll have at your fingertips. And with over 30 locations, we're always close. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com or visit one of our office locations to see if you qualify for membership with Founders. Relax with Founders. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA. You're listening to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. We're back in a moment.
Life, it has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
Enjoy life to the fullest with tasty peanuts that pack a lot of flavor. When it comes to eating peanuts, the research is clear. Peanuts improve your health. Peanuts, a snack that gives back. Crack some open today for a nutritious, sustainable, and earth-friendly treat. Be sure to stop by your local grocery store produce section to pick up a bag of roasted in-shell peanuts. Brought to you by the South Carolina Peanut Board. Visit aboutpeanuts.com for delicious peanut-based recipes.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
All right, Corey Connors just finished up with the media a few minutes ago. We'll bring that to you after the break. Here is a little bit from what Brooks Koepka had to say after his round, a former PGA champion. In fact, he's won, of course, several major championships. And a lot of people wondered about could he play well with the knee and all that. That seems to not be much of a problem for him. Here is Koepka as he takes questions from the media after his round today.
Your start today, Brooks, a little gut check after the first hole and kind of cranking from there. Is that what happened on one, and how'd you get it going starting at two?
Yeah, probably a poor club choice off 10. I thought 3 would carry. Didn't, but also I didn't even find the face. I mean, I barely hit the face. And then, the first rule is if you're in trouble, get the hell out. I couldn't reach the green. It was a bad lie. I don't know what I was doing. And just tried to hit a full sand wedge up at the green instead of just chopping it out. So mental mistake there, and deserved every bit of that double bogey. So it kind of helped refocus, and all right, I can't play with any mistakes. Maybe one a day, but that was my one, and I got out of the way the first hole. So just had to be real careful and watch what I was doing.
All right, let's open it up for some questions. Let's go to number 10, please.
Brooks, are you still having any trouble reading putts because you can't get down low enough? And walk me through the putt on 9 that it looked like you thought you had made.
Yeah, I thought I made it. It was a good putt. Yeah, you can get good putts. They don't go in sometimes. And, 25, 30 feet. You don't expect to make those all the time. So good putt, can't complain. But, yeah, I can get down low enough. My right leg just kicks out a little bit. And is what it is.
Are you feeling any better health-wise compared to earlier in the week?
Not the same, maybe a little. Every day it gets a little bit better, but I don't notice it. I notice it kind of more over weeks. Week to week, I'll notice it gets a lot better, but it feels fine right now.
Tom on 4.
Brooks, talk about the challenge of those holes into the wind. Starting for you was starting with 14. All of a sudden, when you get there, and all of a sudden the wind just shifts. What's that challenge for you?
Yeah, you play like 9 straight holes into the breeze, and the way the wind direction's coming from today, it's so difficult because it almost feels straight in, and then you really got to pay attention. It comes from like 1 o'clock, but it shifts to 11 a little bit. You're never directly into it. It's always just slightly at an angle, and if you just don't hit the correct shot or know which way the wind is actually blowing, you can miss it pretty bad. So just trying to make sure, we had the wind direction, the understanding of where it was, and make sure you miss it on the right side.
Also, you talk about feeling better day by day. And I'm assuming all of this is the best you've felt this round since you've come back, and that coupled with it being a major.
You just said it. It's a major. I'm going to show up. I'm ready to play. Been itching to do this since Augusta. I feel so much better now. I don't need to be 100% to be able to play good.
Maybe Corey will ask him.
All right, there you go, Corey. Brooks Koepka. I'm sorry, George. Quit talking when I'm talking. Good Lord, you're sitting here. You don't like the golf media.
No, it just aggravates me to continually hear them ask just cookie cutter predictable questions. That's why the guys go absolutely lame moment. I don't blame them one bit. Ask a great question.
What would you have asked Koepka? Well, hold that thought. We got to go to a break. I'll give you a moment. You can play reporter when we come back. I'll let you throw a mythical question at Brooks Koepka. Okay, we'll be back here on Sports Talk in just a moment. George's question for Brooks Koepka is coming up. Don't go away.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Biden is hailing the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, ending an 11-day war. Mr. Biden spoke from the White House shortly before the ceasefire was set to go into effect in Gaza, where Israel has struck hundreds of targets in retaliation for Hamas, firing thousands of rockets into its territory. Said Mr. Biden, quote, "I believe we have a genuine opportunity to make progress, and I'm committed to working for it," unquote. The president said the U.S. was committed to helping Israel replenish its supply of interceptor missiles for its Iron Dome protection system and to working with the Palestinian Authority, not Hamas, to provide aid to Gaza. On Wall Street, the Dow by 188 points, the Nasdaq rose 236, the S&P 500 advanced 43. More details at srnnews.com.
Now, who could that be?
It's Dominion Energy. I signed us up for a home energy checkup. It's time we learn how to save energy and money.
Well, how much does it cost?
Not a dime. It's free, and it only takes about an hour. Plus, we get a report on things we can do to make our home more energy efficient.
I don't know. Sounds too good to be true.
No. See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
So I spotted some cracks in the house, and rather than stress all over it, I just reached out. I called the folks at TerraTech to come on out and take a look. And they did come out, and they explained to me that fortunately, I wasn't looking at foundation failure, just normal settling in the home. That was a big, big relief. Now, I got to know these folks, and now I'm proud to enthusiastically suggest TerraTech as your source for foundation stabilization, for building or repairing retaining walls, so much more. I've been out to several of their job sites to see these repairs. It is awesome to see how they restore a home's value and give you back your peace of mind at the same time. I believe in their process. Listen, TerraTech is family owned. They're local, and that matters. For 38 plus years, matters so much to me. It should also to you when you're talking about your biggest financial asset, your home. So take a look at the house. See if you have any issues. You don't want to ignore cracks in the walls. And if you find any, get in touch with TerraTech. Online, it's TerraTechInc.com or call them 791-8888.
Are you ready to grow your business? Tune in at 9 a.m. on Monday mornings to The Brainstorm with Matt and Mike. As founders of Splash Omni Media, we've helped thousands of business executives over the last decade. Get tips to win big. The Brainstorm, 9 a.m. on Monday mornings.
Hi, this is Marsha Clayman.
And I'm Karen Pickard. We're your hosts for The Positive Point on Aging.
We'll talk about aging gracefully and senior care every Tuesday morning from 8:30 to 9 o'clock a.m.
Join us right here on The Point for The Positive Point on Aging.
Brought to you by Oakley Village of Lexington.
Hello, Midlands. It's Jay here with The Melting Pot. Here's a few questions we get when people call us. Do we serve only chocolate? No, we serve 4 courses, but you can get just chocolate or 4 courses of chocolate. No, you don't have to sit at a big table with strangers around you. But you can sit at a big table with friends around you. You just need to bring the friends with you. We also specialize in having lots of private booths with real walls between them, so you won't feel like a fish in a plexiglass tank. Come and see us at The Melting Pot, 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
We are back on Sports Talk. Phil Kornblutz and George Bryan here at the Players Club in downtown Columbia. Chris Bergen over at his studio in Florence, and Pat Daniel at our studios in downtown Columbia. Been a very busy show with all the golf that's going on, the baseball that's going on. Talking with Mike Foster from the South Carolina Football Hall of Fame. Good having him on with us as well. Let me update some things. Duke has pushed across another run, and looks like another home run by Crabtree. Who is this guy? He's hit a couple of home runs for Duke. They're up 3-1 on Clemson in the top of the sixth. Meantime, South Carolina, Tennessee, top of the third. They remain scoreless. I'll give you some other baseball this afternoon. Charleston Southern beat Longwood 10-8. Presbyterian over Winthrop 5-2. Charleston Southern and Longwood playing a second game. Bucks are up 4-3, bottom of the seventh. Upstate pounding Asheville 13-2, top of the seventh. Miami and Louisville, they're 1-1, bottom of five. Virginia 7-0 over Boston College, bottom of six. Notre Dame leading Virginia Tech 4-0, top of the fifth. Wake Forest over Pittsburgh 4-0, bottom of the fifth. Chris, remember when we were talking about Pittsburgh, or people were talking about Pittsburgh being like a regional host? I guess they were among the 20, weren't they? Were
Yes,
they among the 20?
They were.
But talking
they were
about
one of
them
the two
getting
ACC teams.
Yeah, I don't know about this. They're losing to Wake Forest 4-0, bottom of the fifth. Coastal Carolina on top of Texas State 4-2, top of the fourth. Elon over College of Charleston 8-4, bottom of the sixth. NC State leading Florida State 2-0, top of the fifth. LSU and Texas A&M scoreless, bottom of the third. Mississippi State and Alabama scoreless, bottom of the third. Florida leading Arkansas 1-0 after two. North Carolina, Georgia Tech scoreless, bottom of three. Ole Miss and Georgia scoreless, mid-second. Kentucky, Vanderbilt just underway, scoreless. And Auburn and Missouri just underway and scoreless. So there you
Phil,
go.
you were mentioning
the college baseball scene. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
You were mentioning Chris Crabtree of Duke about who is this guy with 2 home runs in this game. He came in with 9 total on the season. He's hit 2 tonight. That just summarizes how difficult a season it has been for the Tigers so far this year, doesn't it?
Yeah, but ordinarily 9 home runs in a college season is not that bad. We're a little bit with Wes Clark hitting 20 home runs this year. We're a little bit skewered as far as I think what's a good number of home runs. I'd say 9 is a pretty good home run total for a college player, wouldn't you?
He's third on their team now. They've got 2 players who have hit 12 on the season, but he may surpass them before this night is done. Mac England has not pitched all that poorly. He's just made a couple of mistakes. And the first run that Duke scratched across, the runner got on base after being hit by a pitch. So England pretty much responsible for all 3 of the runs thus far by Duke.
Let's see. The Braves are playing the Pirates tonight, and something that's become commonplace with the Braves here of late, they're losing. Of course, they did win last night, didn't they? They won in a walk-off fashion, I believe. But they are trailing the Pirates top of the first 2-0. So they'll have to come from behind. Look who's pitching. Really? You know who's pitching for Pittsburgh tonight?
Not without looking it up. No, I do not. I'm not as plugged into the Pirates as I probably should be.
No, former Gamecock Will Crow.
How about that?
I did not realize he'd made the bigs and was with the Pirates, but he is pitching tonight for Pittsburgh. I recognized his name because he spelled it with one L when he was at South Carolina, W-I-L. He was a really good pitcher at South Carolina. Had Tommy John at one point, I believe, had to come back from that. and now he's in the majors. I don't know what his record is this year. I can look it up, but he is starting tonight for the Pirates, and they have staked him to a 2-0 lead
I am
in the
more
top of the first. He's
stunned.
26 years old. He's a big kid at 6'2", 235. He's 0-2 this year with a 4.35 ERA. He's looking for his first career major league win, Chris. He's 0-4 in his brief major league career.
But I am more stunned that we are 90 minutes into our show tonight, and you have not yet mentioned Corey Kluber's no-hitter last night for the Yankees.
Well, I don't want the show to be all about me on an every night basis.
Well, he talked about it at lunch yesterday. To me, maybe he spent it at lunch yesterday.
Well, no, it was last night that he pitched the no-hitter.
So there was even another no-hitter.
Well, not yet. There's been 6 already this season.
So we were at lunch yesterday.
Did that make 7, Kluber?
That made 7, and there have now been more this season than the previous 2 seasons combined.
Wow,
that's amazing.
That is. I don't know if that's good or bad. I mean, the no-hitter used to be precious, not something that you took for granted, and not something that was commonplace. But this is ridiculous. I mean, is this just an indication of pitchers are just overwhelming the hitters now in the game of baseball? People are complaining that in baseball you have 2 points of action. You have a strikeout and you have a home run, and there's nothing else in between anymore.
Those are fresh arms after a limited season and COVID inspired.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That is interesting. Pat and I were debating also the fact that there's so much emphasis now placed on exit velocity and all this stuff in terms of analytics in baseball that nobody can put the ball in play anymore. I would hazard a guess that 75% of all ground outs in baseball probably occur into the shift. If guys could hit the opposite way against the shift, I don't think we'd see this many no-hitters.
It's a good point. But they can't, and I don't think they want to. I mean, you see these big gaps in the infield when they shift, and these guys who've been playing baseball their entire lives and have been taught to go the opposite way, and it's like, they want to test if they can hit the ball between 4 players. I can beat that shift with my power and the ball spinning the way it's going to spin off my bat. You can't stop me. But you got the whole right side of the infield that's open. If you just bunt it over there, you're going to run for 2 bases probably, get it past the first baseman. Dustin Johnson just finished up, George. Not a good day.
Not a good day at all. Struggled, and his whole group struggled. Lowry just birdied the last hole to shoot one over. Sergio 5 over. Dustin, I don't know if he made bogey or double there. It looked like maybe double.
He made double.
4 over.
Yeah.
So the whole group struggled, but then the group right behind Cameron. Did I say Cameron Davis? Yeah, Davis. He shoots 3 under. I mean, a golf course, same golf course, a different outcome.
You're not there, and you're not in Dustin's head, and you're not on his bag, or you're not close to him. Here, he's there. You're here. But what do you think went on with him today? I mean, I happen to be listening to the PGA Tour radio play-by-play when he teed off this afternoon, and from his opening swing, he just seemed like he never had it today. His first swing was in the sand on 1, and then his second shot was down in the sand, and I don't know if he bogeyed 1, but he just got off to a minus kind of start and never got his plus game going.
And he is probably one of the few players in the field that still could contend, if not win this tournament, after starting with 4 over par, because I can tell you he gets over rough shots, rough holes, rough rounds better than anybody on the PGA Tour. So, a golf course like this, he's been there a while. He knows it very well. And it wouldn't surprise me at all for him to come back really strong. He played late today. He'll play early tomorrow. So he might get good conditions. You never can tell.
Pat needs to go on the air to correct himself for correcting the corn. Nobody corrects the corn correctly because the corn doesn't make mistakes. So you corrected the corn incorrectly. So
the corn.
Now you're going to go on the air.
It's a corn corrector.
You're going to correct your incorrection of the corn. Go ahead.
I'm going to blame ESPN. They most definitely said that was the 7th no hitter this season. It was actually the 6th, so you were right. I'll eat my words there. But I wanted to just add to that. That's 6 on the season. That's still more than the last 2 years combined. But take the Atlanta Braves, for instance. They lead the major leagues with home runs this season, but then they also have the 9th most strikeouts this season, 9th fewest walks this season, and they're one of the worst bunting teams in baseball. So it just seems like, kind of like in the NBA, the mid-range jumper has disappeared. It's all three-pointers and dunks. Major League Baseball, it's either home runs or strikeouts. There's not a whole lot of small ball to be spoken of these days.
Well, I appreciate your correction. That's good. Just to keep my record clean of never having made a mistake on the air. Now, George, before we hear from Corey Connors, the first round leader, you were going to ask a mythical question because you weren't happy with the media. You're not happy with golf media.
On balance,
both in the United States and
no,
the European writers.
I think the European writers probably, at least what I don't watch and listen a lot to the European tour, especially press conferences, but typically they do study golf in a little different way, and I like a different approach than the same old questions. I mean, Brooks left him wide open when he said, no brainer, sandwich at one hole, first hole. I mean, why not ask a question to follow up real quick? Hey, well, how do you go brain dead on a layup sandwich? I mean, would you go over that, Brooks?
Is that how you would have worded the question?
Why not? I mean, that's just the way I don't know Brooks very well, but
Chris, George has never been yelled at in a press conference
No,
before.
he hasn't. And I'm not sure Brooks Koepka is the guy I want to upset in a press conference. I admire George. He's 100% correct. That's a good follow-up. May have want to phrased it a little differently, but here's a guy who could bench press all three of us at the same time. So, yeah, he's not somebody you want coming over the table at a question like that. But, no, I think you're right, though. I think it's a great follow-up.
That's what those guys are. They're waiting for somebody to ask them something other than cookie cutter. Let me just hit it right in the center questions, and that's just my opinion.
All right. Look at Cooch sporting the beard, looking all hippie. He's looking all beach-like. Look, he just came off the beach.
Looks like a granddaddy.
Retired
granddaddy.
All right, let me update you're right, retired. Let me update what's going on. We have Corey Connors at 5 under, and Keegan Bradley, Victor Hovland, Brooks Koepka, Aaron Wise, and Sam Horsfield. I hope he wins at 3 under, and Cam Davis is on the course at 3 under. Cameron Tringali, Martin Laird, Corey Morikawa, Phil Mickelson, Brandon Grace, Gary Woodland, Kevin Streelman. They are at 2 under. How many golfers right now are even par? Right now, you've got 40 that are even par or better at this point. And your leader, again, is Corey Connors, a Canadian, and a guy that has top 10 finishes in the last 2 Masters. So he can play in a major, okay? You might not know his name, but people who follow the game are not surprised, I'm sure, that Connors is up on the leaderboard. This is fresh off his press conference. I've not had a chance to clean it up. So we go and listen to Corey Connors as he's introduced by the moderator and take some questions just a few minutes ago after his round that will lead in round 1 of the PGA Championship.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to the 2021 PGA Championship here at the Ocean Course. Pleased to be joined by first-round leader Corey Connors, who opened up with a really stellar 5 under 67 today. Corey, stress-free perhaps? I mean, is that even possible here, or were you stressing, or how were you feeling out there?
I'd say it's impossible to be stress-free around this golf course. You know, can't fall asleep out there on any holes. It's very challenging, and I was fortunate to have a good day. Made it as least stressful as possible on myself. I hit a lot of really good shots, hold some nice putts early in the round, and that really kind of helped boost the confidence and, played with a lot of freedom.
All right, let's hit the floor for some questions. Let's start over here with Dan at 5.
Corey, if someone would have told you before the round that you just shot a 5 under 67 in these conditions, what would you have thought?
Yeah, I would have thought I would have would have played really well. Would have been pumped with that round. I am really pleased with the score. I definitely knew in my preparation that it was possible to have a decent round out here and shoot a 5-6 under par round. So kind of started the day, thinking why not me? There's birdies to be had. Just play with patience, but take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves.
Okay, let's go to number 6, please.
I know you're a big hockey fan, and will you stay up to the end of the game tonight? And what time do you have to get up in the morning for your round?
No chance of staying up till the end of the game. I'll be probably in bed before the third period starts. Be getting up probably just before 5 for my round in the morning.
And just quickly, what club did you hit in the last? Because that looked to have the pin covered the whole way.
Yeah, it was nice. 3 hybrid.
Let's zoom out. Bob Weeks. Go ahead, sir. You're with Corey.
Hey, Corey, congratulations. Beautiful round. I wonder, is this the most complete round you've played this year? Do you think you seem to get everything out of every part of your bag?
Yeah, I would say so. I think there's nothing that I want to do differently. I didn't really make any mistakes out there. Played really solid all through the bag, like you said. A lot of good putts. Drove it well, ironed it well, and got up and down a couple times really nicely.
You'll be glad to know the golf courses are open here.
I'm just heard an inkling of that. I wasn't sure if it was true, but that's awesome. Good to hear.
Good news. We are going to go zoom out one more time to Lucas. Go ahead, Lucas, sir.
Hi, Corey. Congrats on the round. Two-part question. First, on 15 there, what did you see on that putt, and just how big was it to get that birdie?
Yeah, it was obviously a big bonus. I hit a good shot in there, just came up a little bit short. I'd hit a few putts from off the green throughout the round, and was hitting them well. They were rolling nicely, but just running out of speed towards the end. So tried to be aggressive. As a double or triple breaking putt. I saw the line really well. I'd actually hit a couple of shots there yesterday, and kind of knew what the putt did. Had some confidence. Tried to make sure I gave it enough juice, and it rolled in. It looked good the whole way. That was a pretty exciting shot.
Any predictions who's going to score for the Leafs tonight?
I think Matthews is a pretty sure bet. So I like his chances to pot one. I'm excited to watch a bit of the game.
All right, let's stick in house here and go to Mark on number 3.
Corey, given the circumstances, the major, the conditions, you've obviously won and had great rounds on tour, but where does this round rate for you in terms of how good this was across the board?
Yeah, it was a really special round. I did a lot of things really, really well. Like I said before, it was really nice to see some mid-range birdie putts fall in the hole. It really gave me confidence, and felt like I rolled it really well for the rest of the round. A lot of putts had chances to go in, and made some nice saves as well.
Just as a follow, did you see this coming at all? You've had some really good results without winning so far. I mean, Masters, you played well, Players Championship, Earl Palmer and stuff. You've played well in some high-profile events. Is this something you've seen coming at all?
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot of belief in myself, and I have been playing well for quite a while. And I'm excited for the opportunity to play against the best players in the world and put my game to the test. I have a lot of confidence in my game. I'm excited for the rest of the weekend, but no, I didn't try to force it to happen, but I definitely saw myself having a good day today, and hopefully can keep that up the rest of the weekend.
All right, there you go. Comments from your leader. He'll be your leader going into round 2 tomorrow at the PGA Championship. Corey Connors, 5 under par, 67. I predicted, George, last night on the show that the winning score come Sunday would be no better than 5 under. So I think he's kind of set the bar at 5 under unless somebody just goes crazy. With the wind probably going to be a little bit stronger tomorrow. Not expecting scores to be in that neighborhood. Maybe even par, 1 under, 2 under is going to carry the day tomorrow. What do you think, sir? The expert. Get that microphone up by you. There you go. We got to be able to hear you.
I think I don't think they'll
See,
water.
George just looked at me. He just looked at me, Chris, like there's that typical media guy making a comment he knows nothing about.
No, you need to be in asking questions.
Well,
you would do much better than that.
Well, it's not about it's like Sam Donaldson once said to President Reagan when Reagan said that was a dumb question. And Sam Donaldson said, with all due respect, sir, there's no such thing as a dumb question, only a dumb answer. So
now we got some.
well, that's what
fire.
I hang my hat on. I've always hung my hat on that. But
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I don't think they'll water tonight based on what I'm looking at here. And if they don't water, the scores could hold. At 5 under par might not be attained tomorrow. I'm just guessing. The PGA is more fair with how they look at their major championship overall. I'm looking at the rough. The rough is playable. You can play golf out of the rough, and like right here, we're watching Cameron Davis play the last hole. We can see his ball a good 3 steps into the rough, and that's very unusual. So, but I'm guessing they will not water the greens. That'll make them harder, more firmer, and faster.
We are looking at some very slow-paced golf too, aren't we?
Oh, this is real slow.
Yeah.
And
we're
you know,
talking 6-hour rounds here almost.
And I have competed on that golf course and been in the middle of the slow, and it is agonizing, especially if you play. For example, we watched Omar Uristi putt out or Sergio. It's really tough when it's that slow.
And it's hot. It's in the 80s, and I mean, you got wind, but you got no shade. Those guys, I mean, they're in shape though. They're not, slobbish or anything. Most of them, maybe Shane Lowry, but there aren't too many of them that aren't in good shape who can handle it. But over 4 days, maybe the heat and the wind's going to take its toll on them physically.
No, I don't think so. It's not that hot. I mean, if it was 100 degrees, it'd be different.
Well,
it's only 85.
Chris, it was 85. Yeah, I was going to say 86 is pretty warm to me, sir, here in the Palmetto State.
No,
especially this
that's
early in the
mild.
year.
Oh, that's mild for these guys.
Hey,
George,
I
am
mention
curious.
a couple of things.
Man, slide in real quick. I just wanted to ask George, after watching the first round today, it appears the consensus is the backside is going to be the tougher of the two. Did you see that play out, and do you anticipate it's going to be the most difficult 9 the rest of the tournament?
Oh, without a doubt. That's where the excitement will be, and I think they will set it up to make sure it happens that way. And, I heard what Matt talk about the wind quartering, changing a little bit for the final round. That could definitely spice things up. So, and it does. I've had the chance to play when the wind is changing throughout the tournament. 15, 16, 17, 18 are unbelievable as far as how hard they are. They're almost unplayable in certain winds.
Well, they call it the hardest course. Well, not necessarily in the world, but I think they've called it the hardest course in America, and maybe one of the hardest in the world. I imagine maybe some of those courses on the coast of Ireland and Scotland, when the wind's up, can be very difficult. But this one pretty much takes the cake here in the United States.
I've never played anything harder than this. This is by far the hardest golf course I've ever played.
And I know you've been to Ireland to play before because we called you. You were on the show at like 5 a.m. from Ireland, and some guy's hollering at you to shut up.
He wasn't just hollering. He was using words that I haven't heard before. And there was a 5-second delay, and we needed at least that or more.
All right, got to update a couple of things. Tennessee has scored 4 on the Gamecocks. They got a home run. They're up 4-0 on South Carolina. Here we go again with the Gamecocks not able to score against great pitching. Lapicius hit a 2-run homer. Durkee had an RBI double. So it's 4-0 Tennessee, and they play in the top of the 4th. And Gamecocks do not have a hit yet through 3 innings. Clemson, Duke. Is that right? Clemson's down 3-1. It's getting late early up at Doug Kingsmore. They're already in the bottom of the 7th. They could play. How many baseball games could you play at this pace by the time these guys get in one round of golf? Seriously.
Pat and I were debating whether or not they'd be done, Phil, by the time our show was over.
Yeah. Real quick, USC women open play tomorrow in the NCAA championships out in Arizona.
And they are good. They got by regionals. Expect great things. It'll be fun to watch them. I love the Golf Stat Live. It makes us, it's current. And they are playing with the best player, in my opinion, in the country. I think she can't be outside number 2. But they also have, it looks to me like their squad playing good.
Yeah.
So
going to be fun to watch. Larry Penley was on with us last night. They'll be moving on to Arizona next week for the men's championship. Tough break for South Carolina. Bill McDonald. They had a great year, but could not get it done in the third round. George, this has been a blast. We'll do it again tomorrow night from here at the Players Club.
Look forward to it.
Absolutely. We'll have more coverage from the Ocean Course. Chris, thank you very much. And
Enjoyed
Pat,
it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Pat. And everybody, thank you for being with us. Thanks to the folks here at the Players Club. Have a great night. And look for post-game coverage of USC Clemson baseball and of the first round of the PGA on our website. See you tomorrow.
Someone will be right with you. The Point.
WQX